under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down, tumbling down. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down, tumbling down. I just lose control down to my very soul. I get a hot and cold all over, all over, all over, all over. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down, tumbling down. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down.
And welcome to the season premiere. 4 seasons we've been here on Guitar Tales, and we are so happy to have you with us. We're here on the banks of the Delaware River at Riverview Studios. If you have any kind of filming needs, not only come to the website, come into this building. We'll cut in right now. Look at your screen right now. We're going to show you some interior and exterior shots of Riverview through the magic of video and superimposing crap and things like that. My name is Dave Cohen. We are here at Guitar Tales, and we are thrilled to have with us Lisa Sherman and Franke Previte. You guys were so kind to come here. I know you have other things going on tonight. You're very busy folks. And Lisa, thank you for that performance tonight. Goosebumps.
You're welcome. It was fun.
It
wasn't planned.
It
So
was
it was
not.
really like, off the cuff, and what you got, straight from here. My
Well,
pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And that's what I got from you, is that as I was watching you perform, there were certain times your eyes closed and
Yeah.
you were truly, truly in the moment.
Yeah.
She could be in the kitchen and she's in the moment, singing. I'm in the other room and I go walk in and she's cooking and she's chirping away.
There's also very good juju here. There's good aura here. So I felt very comfortable just walking up on stage and, doing that.
I felt the comfort level from you. And what really happens on this show, that one of the things I'm really grateful for in this show, and I've been saying this for a while, and I could even get a little emotional here, people come in here strangers and they leave as friends.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
a
think
good
it's been
thing.
everyone we've had on this show.
It's awesome.
So thank you guys so much for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into so much, and we could fill 5 hours, we won't, but we could.
Yes.
We have a little game we play, and it's called 6 Degrees of John Bon Jovi. So either one of you can handle that.
Okay.
I'll give
Agree-
this to you. This is yours.
All right.
Okay. So what's the game? Tell me the
All right.
game.
So there's some guy, Kevin Bacon. You might have heard of him.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Same rules. So what we want to know is, in your personal or professional life, how many people do we have to go through to get you to John Bon Jovi?
To get me to go.
And then we want the anecdote that accompanies that.
Okay, so I just take out my phone and I look up his number and I call him.
All right. So you know him.
Yeah, I know John for many, many years. And in fact, Tico Torres, the drummer from the band, was in Frankie and the Knockouts, which was one of my bands that had some success. And John used to come and see us play all the time, and I'm thinking that he's really digging the band. And
No, he had eyes on your drummer.
Yeah.
bingo. Bingo.
Oh.
But he used to tell me, "Oh, you're my favorite singer," and then come backstage. And I found out many years later, he was there to kind of like schmooze up the Tico.
Wow. I just today told a story to a defense attorney about how a firm poached one of my associates once in the same fashion. Hey, Dave, can I borrow your office for a deposition? And they secretly met with one of my associates and stole him away.
See that?
Sneaky.
So it happens in the law, it happens in entertainment.
Happens in life,
It does.
But that Tico, we were doing the third album out in L.A.
Right.
And so Tico finished all his drum parts and he went home, and I'm doing vocals and I get a phone call. Hey, this kid Bon Jovi wants me to do some demos. Oh no. Do you mind if I, do some demos? I can make some money. I said, go make some money.
Oh, no.
Tico's still making money.
I bet he is. So that is a great segue. So what some people know, some people don't, is that by the time we get to the interview part of the show, we've been together probably about 2 hours right now. So we've already gotten to know each other. And I shared with you guys right before we went on the air, I did my little YouTube exploration of both of you and amazing things. And like I said, I could fill 5 hours, probably each, let alone for the two of you. But what was one of the special things for me, I found Sweetheart from your band. And
1981.
yeah, and it transported me. That song blew up my radio. The younger people don't know. A radio is something that when you would be in a car and you would turn a dial, you'd have trouble. You'd have to kind of do a little bit of this.
Static.
Yeah, you
right?
get the static in between. And then music would come on a radio station. And you couldn't choose. You got what they gave you. But that song would blow up the radio. I'm class of 82, so that would have been my junior year it started.
Yeah.
But it's sort of the tapestry of the ending piece of my sort of childhood youth before I went to college.
Right.
And it's a beautiful piece of it.
Interesting song was the last song I wrote for the Knockout record.
Okay.
And we had all these, rock and roll songs on the album. And I walked into the president of the label, Jimmy Einer.
Yeah.
I said, I have one more song I want you to hear. So I play him Sweetheart, a little demo that I did.
Yeah.
And he goes, good song, kind of a pop song. It's,
It is. Yeah.
it's gonna like radio's gonna like peg you as a pop band and you want to be a rock and roll band. I said, yeah. He goes, you sure you want to put that bullet in the gun? I said,
All right, yeah.
I said, load the gun.
It's a fucking good song.
And so I figured if it's going to be a hit, it at least gives us some visibility.
Yeah.
And we're out there. So when we play out live, nobody would recognize us until we played that song.
Yeah, and it gives you immediate street cred,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, so I will talk about your Academy Award, which is huge, but I kind of happened upon that. Actually, I take that back. Scott Guitarmacist Engel, who's back there in the studio, he's the one who connected us, and I want to thank Scott on the air for setting this up.
Scotty.
Thank you, Scott.
He's amazing.
Yes.
And so he texted me that song, and it transported me.
That's what music does.
And I was so proud to have the two of you on it, and there's so much to talk about with you. I sent it to my kids.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, it's an amazing song.
Music has power.
Yeah, it does. And I'm listening, even the guitar work. You're right, it's not a rock song. And there's that funky sort of 80s style, non-distorted, but really cool percussive guitar going on in there.
Right. I was in a band called Bull Angus back in the late 70s.
Okay,
And it was more of a heavy band.
right.
And then the band broke up and I moved back home and I signed as an R&B singer to Buddha Records.
Okay.
And Tony Camillo, Buddha Records.
Okay,
Yeah. And a lot of big stars were on that label. And Tony Camillo, who produced Midnight Train to Georgia, was my producer.
Oh, wow.
And so anytime I wrote a rock and roll song, it went in the draw.
Oh,
And if I wrote an R&B song, we recorded it.
right.
But I was getting a vibe that, I'm coming from this like heavy rock and roll band and I'm not feeling my ass getting kicked from the R&B. I like singing it.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know what? I got to cross these two elements and do a kind of a rock and roll soul band.
Yeah.
And Frankie and the Knockouts was born.
The chorus, love the verse, love it. The chorus is amazing in that song.
Yeah, I
The
have that little
hook.
falsetto thing I do in
Yeah.
there that kind of is a trademark of that song.
You mean the one I tried to do in the car on the way to the studio today? Which I literally did. Yeah, which I can't do? Yes, that one. Yeah. It's very cool. And
It's
Thank you.
catchy. It's
Thank
so
you.
catchy.
it's catchy, it's memorable. And look, the three of us have a certain bias toward a certain period of time for
Sure.
music.
Sure.
But I think it's not just subjective. There is something really objective. And you're a piece of that history about the quality of the composition, the lyricism, and the hooks that we saw in the 70s and 80s that
Right.
we'll probably get back at some point, but not now.
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
yeah.
So
but
in-
it's more visual now.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
In February, because the song was released for Valentine's Day back in '81.
Right.
And so I got a call from Jeff Stevens from iHeart
Okay.
Radio, and he has a band. And he said, listen, do you mind if I re-record Sweetheart? Wow. I said, go ahead, record. He goes,
Yeah.
but you got to sing it with me.
Right. Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, so he and I are going to do a version and put it out for Valentine's Day, and then do a concert out in Ohio with the guys from Player.
Right.
And was it Cafferty? Is that the
James Cafferty?
I think
Cafferty.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, the guy
What was
that's
the group?
Brandy.
Oh, Brandy.
Oh, yeah.
Him, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll think of it in a minute.
Yeah.
Already
You don't
the
mean
audience.
the song Brandy? The
Yes.
band?
Yes.
Oh.
The band, we'll think of it. The audience
It's in my
already
phone,
knows.
which is on the other side of the
Yeah,
room.
the audience
Brandy.
already
Yeah.
knows what it is. We were just talking about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, so the three of us with this band Stranger, their name,
Yeah.
we're
That's a
going to
cool
do
name.
this concert out in Ohio in February, and they're going to redo Sweetheart and Hungry Eyes and Time of My Life.
Right. And that's another thing, by the way. Hungry Eyes.
The best.
It's again.
The best.
It
The
is.
best.
It's such a quality. And you know, so here's my thought about hearing that about 5 times today, literally today. You could have sang that song. Eric Carmen did a beautiful job, right?
Thank you.
But listening to your vocals, is there a story behind why that was his and not you, or not his, but why he recorded it as opposed to you?
Jimmy Einer, who was the president of the label,
Right.
Millennium Records that I was on, and that label kind of went its own way, and Jimmy went into film.
Okay.
And so there's a whole story about how I got called into Right Time of My Life. But after they accepted that Time of My Life, they said, "You have anything else?" And I had already written Hungry Eyes
Okay.
for the
So that was sitting in a drawer, so to speak,
for the Knockouts next record,
which didn't happen because you broke up in what, 86?
85.
Okay. All
And
right.
so I said, "Yeah, I got this other song, Hungry Eyes." So when they heard it,
Wait, I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
So this happens, right? Are you having any suspicion at all that Hungry Eyes would blow up the way it did? Or are you just thinking, it's a good song I have?
I thought it was a good song.
Right.
I thought it was, obviously worthy of being on a Frankie and a Knockout record, and I thought it could be a single for Frankie and the Knockouts.
Right.
And so I sent in that demo along
Okay.
with the demo of Time of My Life, and they actually filmed the movie to our demos. Wow. And so Jimmy calls and said, "Hey, listen, why don't you go ahead and record the song, for the movie?" And I'm like, "Okay." And then I get a call from the director, Emil Ardolino, and he said, "We have another scene. Can you come in? I want you to look at it."
Right.
So, all right. So I'm looking. He goes, "Oh, by the way, what are the BPMs, beats per minute, of
Right.
Hungry Eyes? Because they're really having a hard time linking it up to the demo." And I go, "What are you talking about?" "I'm recording it on Monday."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, you don't know."
Someone-
I said, "No, what?" He goes, "Bob Summers just became president of RCA, and Eric Carmen just got signed. You're out, he's in." So that's how I got blown out.
So did an F-bomb drop out of your mouth internally or externally at that time?
Well, I was more hurt by it because I had already called the band, I had already booked the time, so it was an
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Hey guys, have to tell them. And the good news is the song was a big hit,
And you own it, right?
Yeah,
All right, so
and
that's
it
good.
regenerated his career.
But he's a name I don't know.
Eric Carmen is from the Raspberries,
Okay. All right.
who Jimmy Einer produced.
Okay. Did he have a career after that, or did he kind of sort of... Wait, which song?
Go all the way. The Raspberries. Remember that song?
Yeah, I do. All
And
right,
what's
so
that
he's a
other
big deal
hit
too.
that Celine Dion sang?
I'll tell you in a minute. May I have a glass of wine?
You whining again?
I am.
Oh.
This was happening for the last hour.
It's because
You
of
wouldn't
this delicious
stop.
wine. So cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Let's do a little toast
Let's
here.
do a
There it
little
is.
toast.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
We'll think of everything in about, after this one.
Yeah.
We'll think of it.
All by
All by
myself.
myself. All by myself.
Oh, that was all right.
Eric Carmen.
So you know what I like? I like my ignorance sometimes because I should have known that. So he's a big deal in and of
Eric Carmen has written probably 7 or 8 major hit records.
Also, he's a writer, not just a performer.
Yeah.
So that's
Raspberries.
interesting, and I guess a bummer. But look, you've had an amazing career anyway. It's like when I'm watching, like an Entertainment Tonight kind of show, and Matt Damon laments that he didn't do The Matrix, and I'm like, dude, you've done just fine,
Right.
And you're the same way. I heard a rumor that you might have won an Academy Award. Is that true?
It was a good year.
Yeah. So
It was
you're
a good
only our
year.
17th guest on this show who's won an Academy Award.
Oh, okay.
Only. No, I'm kidding.
You
about
had
that.
16 others, huh?
Yeah. So, Lisa, I want to get to you. Let's do the Academy Award. Let's do a little more. Let's dig a little more into how you got connected to Dirty Dancing, and then Lisa. Again, we could do 5 hours with you, and I've done really good research and background. You've got an amazing backstory too.
Thank you.
So
We'll just have to come back again.
we would love to have you back.
I'd love to taste
Not you,
your
but you.
whites. Your whites are, the reds are great.
Yeah.
The
I'll
white
bring.
must
I
be
have a lot of
fabulous.
white at home too. So all right. So let's talk about. We kind of just sort of wandered into it. So here you are. You're already successful. You know, you've already had this. 81, you had this great hit that was blowing up the radio.
Right.
So you're not someone who's a stranger to success pop culture wise. But this is
Right. This is
next
about-
level stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what happened?
You know, Frankie and the Knockouts, you know, you think that, oh, wow, you had this big hit and
Yeah.
it blew up the radio. You know, if you prorate what I made, it's $1.25 an hour.
Right.
You know, from all the years that I had invested in it. And it was survival money.
Right.
You know, still
And
selling.
people assume you're on the radio, you're rich.
Oh, exactly. But I'm still
Yeah.
selling cars out of my driveway.
Literally?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. Still doing that. And, you know, because Jimmy closed up his label, and here I am back at square one trying to get another record
Right.
deal. Road Hungry Eyes, Jimmy calls.
Right.
Jimmy Einer, Millennium Records, Jimmy Einer.
Right.
Listen, I got this little movie. I want you to write a song for.
Did he say little?
Yeah. Wow. And he just said, I said, Jimmy, I don't have time. I said, I'm trying to get a deal. You close your label. Make Time is going to change your life. I'm thinking, yeah, you're going to change my life.
Right.
And he goes, I feel really good about this. And I go, okay, what's the name of the movie? And he goes, Dirty Dancing. And I go, oh, Jesus, he's doing porn. Jimmy's doing porn.
Well, you've got the cool guitar stuff from your other stuff. Chicka, 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 chicka. So that would have worked well for porn.
Yes.
That's very
And he's
funny.
like, no, this is not that kind of movie. It's a
Right.
really good little movie. Baby meets Johnny, and the father doesn't like the kid. That's what I knew.
Right, that's it.
That's
Did
it.
you know Catskills yet?
Nope, didn't know anything about Catskills.
Yeah.
It was Baby meets Johnny, and that father doesn't like the kid.
Right.
He's a dance instructor.
Right.
So I said, okay. So I had written Hungry Eyes with John D. Nicola, and I said, let me give John a call.
Right.
And so I did, and I said, the good news is we got asked to write a song. The bad news is it's for the last scene of the movie, and it has to be 7 minutes long.
I never thought about that. That's a 7 minute.
7 minute song.
Now, if you go back to the 70s, that wasn't such
That's
a...
MacArthur Park.
Okay, right. But it's not like it eventually became when 315 or whatever. Well, AOR rock had.
It became like four and change.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
Okay.
4 and change.
All right.
But there was such a connection with the movie
Yeah.
and Patrick Swayze
Yeah.
and Jennifer, and the phenomenon that it took on. That it didn't matter if it was 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 4
Could have been
minutes.
40.
It just became this connecting factor that the public embraced.
But how did as you're writing? I know I apologize for interrupting, but I'm so interested in the content of the song. How connected did you become to the script, or the actors who were in it? That was weird the way I said actor, but actors who were in it.
Actors, yes.
Actors.
I am
I was
an
being
actor.
obnoxious. Yeah, that was
actor.
obnoxious. I apologize for that.
I knew,
look my nose when I said
I knew very little about it. I wrote the song on the Garden State Parkway exit 140,
Clark.
Clark Union.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And John sent me a cassette of the music. I put that cassette into my dashboard,
Really?
and I'm playing that cassette, and I'm listening, driving, going, "Nin of my life, nin of my life." Like, what the hell am I saying?
Right.
And I'm scribbling time of my life
Are
on
you
an
driving?
envelope. Yeah. Wow. And the man upstairs wrote the rest of this, because
Right. Well,
when I met Patrick Swayze at the Academy Awards, he goes, dude, it was like you were here, and there was 149 songs submitted for that last scene.
Wow.
You were the 150th on the day we were filming. And he goes, we were getting ready to film to a Lionel Richie song.
Dancing on the Ceiling.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
yours is so much more fitting.
And
that
they were
movie.
bummed. And they were like, let's get this piece of shit movie over with.
It was the
Right.
last cassette, right?
Yeah, the 150th cassette. And they started listening to it, and they were like, is this song great, or are we just desperate? You know?
Right.
And they were like, no, we're filming to that song. And he goes, we turned all the choreography around, and we filmed that day. He goes, me singing, when the song breaks down,
Yeah.
me singing to you singing, Frankie.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool.
That's so. You said something that I think is really interesting. I talk about Don McLean sometimes, and I feel like there was a time in Don McLean's life when a muse just tapped him on the shoulder and said, "I'm gonna fucking take care of you," you know.
Yeah.
And so you had that muse, and you've had more than one muse in your career. But do you feel
I'm
like
definitely spiritually guided.
Yeah. Do you feel
Absolutely.
like when you're at exit 140 between Union and Clark, and I'm going to guess that you're in a jalopy of a car, right?
I was in an older ride. Yeah.
Right, right.
I told you I was selling them out of my driveway, so
All
I was
right.
using them.
Manual or power windows?
It was an automatic on the shifter.
All right, we'll take it. So do you feel like a muse kind of tapped you on the shoulder and said, "I'm going to give you this"?
Well, I say the man upstairs wrote the song because
Yeah.
I didn't know what the movie was about, and Patrick was like, it was like you were here.
Yeah, that's.
Like you wrote these lyrics standing here watching us film.
And it did. And the funny thing is, those immortal words, "It will change your life," and it did, right?
That was my speech at the Academy Awards. I'd like to thank Jimmy Einer for changing my life.
And you know what's really cool? To get a little sappy here, you changed other lives, because that movie was so touching to so many people.
Still is.
Yeah, yeah. And you know that song in connection with the story still touches people. So when he gave you those immortal words that'll change your life, you touched and improved other people's lives, which is really neat.
I think that's because, RCA and Vestron Films didn't really believe in the movie. They were going to put it out for 2 weeks and go to VHS.
Really?
And so within those 2 weeks, 300,000 records were back ordered. And before RCA could print a record, 1 million records were back ordered. So
Oh my God.
really, Joe Public made Dirty Dancing.
Wow.
Not Big Brother.
Wow. That's really cool. And that's, and there is no shortage of achievements in your life, but what an amazing achievement. And you know what? And it's a positive achievement. It just, that's a positive movie. It's a positive song. It makes people feel good.
Patrick himself, I got to know him a little bit as a person. And I mean, the character that he played, Johnny Castle, this tough, rugged, kind of guy with a big heart, that's who he really was.
Right.
I did some charity events with him, and he just, that's who Patrick was.
Right. Yeah. You do some. Tell us a little bit. Then we're going to switch to Lisa in a bit. Your work for charities that involve pancreatic cancer.
Yeah. Well, after Patrick's passing, I was, what can I do? This song meant so much to him. It means so much to me.
Yeah.
So I did a cold call to the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network.
Yeah.
And just so happens that the person that picked up the phone was the CEO, the person who started the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. And it's the largest charity for pancreatic cancer in the world, bigger than Lufgard.
Wow.
So I talked to Pamela Olson, and she said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to release the demos that they dance to.
Brilliant.
And I want to sell them on Facebook." So it's Dirty Dancing demos on Facebook.
Brilliant.
And I go, "You can own a piece of history." And so for the past 25, 30 years, we've raised about maybe $30,000 for pancreatic cancer, and people just, purchasing Time of My Life, the original demo, with Hungry Eyes, the original demo. And then I put a third song on there called Someone Like You, which
Right.
is in the stage play Dirty Dancing.
It's beautiful.
That's
song.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
fantastic. So that those prophetic words that they keep giving and giving. By the way, so as we segue to Lisa, here's the cool backstory here. You guys, you're our second married couple to appear together here in Guitar Tales.
We're married all of, 3 months now?
2 months.
2 months?
Oh, you just failed, dude.
Well, it was,
Wait,
it
when
was
was it?
July,
When was it?
August,
Or else you
September,
failed.
October.
No, wait, I think-
Lisa failed.
July,
July,
August,
It's up.
September.
Wow.
All
Time
right.
is
October.
flying.
All right, so you-
So it's 2.5.
It's almost November. That's what's.
All right, so
there
you're
you
not
go.
in the doghouse, you are.
Roof.
Yeah.
Again.
So
Again. Yeah, we just got married.
now you guys, and I could say this comfortably because I just hung out with you for a couple hours before we started taping. You're a wonderful couple. Like, you guys complement each other really
We're fun,
nicely.
aren't we?
Yeah. Now, how long have you known each other?
8 years.
Yeah, 8 years.
8 years.
8 years in July. We got married on the day that we went on our first date,
Yeah.
which was July
Oh.
29th.
That's very
And
romantic.
I said, let's make that anniversary official.
yeah.
you know.
So we got married on the one day in the summer that was a huge, it was like a monsoon. It was a monsoon. But people say if you get married and it rains, I mean, I don't know where that came from.
Right.
I don't know what that means, but I've
Means
heard it.
good luck.
It means good luck, so we'll take it.
It's, you know, look, here's one way to think of it.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Here we go again.
Here we go again.
We're whining again.
It's
We're
all
whining
good. And by the
again.
way, I have extra here if you guys want a little more.
Salud.
Thank you.
So you can weather any storm.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll
I
take
like that.
I like that. We have to.
We can
that's a-
weather any storm.
Yeah, and I think there's some, I'm getting the vibe that there's a lot of truth to that. So one of the things that, you know, what I love before our shows is I'll go on a little YouTube journey, a little bit on the internet, but mainly YouTube.
God knows
Lisa-
what's on there. God
Yeah.
knows what's on YouTube.
No, the bad stuff is gone. I tried, but it's gone. But you have such an amazing career, but my first observation that I think is so special about you guys is you're both artists. And as artists, you're both very complimentary of each other. I watched your dialogue. You know, Lisa, when you did that beautiful vocal performance, and even in the warm-ups, you're leaning up. You're saying, "Frankie, how did that sound?" And he's being supportive.
It's
and
respect.
Yeah,
It's
right.
respect.
It's professional respect, and more importantly, it's trust.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he's my music man. I think not that I think, I know in my pathway of life that I'm still, you know, still traveling the journey of life.
Right.
And you meet different people. Some people compliment you. Some people are enamorous. Some people are your friends. Some people are a mixture of all of it. But when you have a trust and a love and a respect,
Right.
it's a very strong bond, and it takes, I think, a lot of fault until you find that. And some people don't find that.
Right.
So I knock on wood, and I'm lucky that we both kind of found each other, and we let
It's
each
the
other
right time.
fly. We let each other breathe. We let each other do what we have to do, because as artists, and you would know because you interview them, we can be complicated, and we can be moody, and we can be very energetic.
But how do we make that work?
How do we make that work?
I know the answer to this question.
You want to talk about this? No, I'm kidding.
Wouldn't
You
it
want
be
to talk,
great
baby? You want
if
to talk?
you guys broke up on Guitar Tales, that would like make way. No, I'm kidding.
Uh-oh.
No, I know the answer to this. If you're comfortable.
Okay, I'm comfortable.
I'm waiting for the answer.
The answer is that we've gone out for 8 years, and during those 8 years,
Oh,
we saw
okay.
each other 3.5 days a week.
Yes.
And
We
so-
don't live together for
Yeah,
our
that's-
audiences.
you're
We
right,
are married, but we don't live together. And I truly think we've started something, because every
Yeah.
time, like even at our wedding, during our nuptials, somehow that conversation came in,
Right.
and you could see other couples going like,
That's a great
"That's
idea.
a great idea. We got to do that."
Got to get me a condo.
Yeah, we see each other like, 3 times a week or whatever. Our schedules change, and we perform a lot together. So
Right.
we do end up, changing that schedule. But in general, again, we let each other breathe. We had homes before we got married,
Right.
and before we met each other. So we felt, you know what? It works. It works.
Well, it's the timing of life.
Yeah.
You know, you've had your children.
Right.
I mean, a young couple having a child, you couldn't do that.
Right. No, right. This is a different scenario,
Correct.
but it's showing trust, and a thought pops in my head. You know, a lifetime ago, I was married, and I remember, and for a long time, and I remember one of the things we see these days, and I even see it on Facebook. There's now a new name. I forget the new name of Facebook. By the way, do you know they changed their name today?
No.
No, today?
Yes, today. I
Oh,
forget
this
the
is-
new name.
this is
Someone yell it
historic.
out.
What's it, Ass Book?
Yeah, it's Ass Book. Just so you know, it's Ass
No.
Book.
Does
So-
anybody know the name
Yeah.
of what
We'll
it's
get
turned?
what is it? Meta, M-E-T-A.
Meta.
Which I think is Latin for above, right? Like you could be a meta,
Meta.
something.
Really?
It'll work. They'll make us
Gotta
like
fix
it
this
because
shirt.
they'll get into our brains. So, but in my past life, one of the things that I would see is girls' night out, right?
Right.
And that was and I get it. Like that's the opportunity for the girls, the wives, to sort of get away from all the stresses of
And go hang
kids
together.
and hang with their friends. And it doesn't mean that they don't want to be in the marriage and things like that.
No,
And
it's
what
just
you guys
life. It's life.
yeah, but what you guys are doing seems more organic than that. You know, and again, it wouldn't work if you were raising children together from the
Correct.
beginning. But at
Correct.
this point in your life, if you guys live together and you needed the space, maybe it creates a sort of resentment or a trust
It
issue.
could.
I need to get away. But now you have your separate lives. Excuse me. But when you're together, I need wine to wash that down. But when you're together, it's just so perfect. And then you're
Right.
together because
It
you want
works
to be
for
together.
us.
'Cause
It
you-
really
yeah.
works for us, and we make a lot of special nights like that. There are many times I don't see him from Sunday until Friday, for whatever reason is going on. And on Friday, I look forward to it. You know, I do the face and the hair. I get dressed. I do, you know, and we
Right.
go out and
You have
we
a chance
have
to miss each other.
we have a chance to
Yeah,
miss each
that's
other,
right.
and so it all works. So
And
yes.
I heard you guys had this really big night recently to go to Guitar Tales. That was like a big deal.
You know what? We planned this. We talked about it, and here we are.
So let me, and I love this because again, you guys are a really nice couple, and we're gonna, if we have the time, I want to talk, which we'll make. I want to talk about your projects together. But Lisa, you have an amazing professional artistic backstory.
Background, yeah.
You
yeah.
were a rockette.
I did. I danced with the Rockettes. I was at Radio City for 4 years. I had a dance major. I was always an entertainer from a very, very young age. Like I started dancing at 4.
Now,
Dancing.
Was that sort of like dancing? You were going to lessons, or dancing was just in you and you felt it?
No, I was training.
Okay.
I needed to be trained to dance. That was
Okay.
something I had to specifically study and aspire to. I got a dance scholarship to Adelphi University.
So
Singing
were you a
was
New Yorker
natural.
growing up?
I lived in Long Island for quite a few years.
Okay.
Yeah.
To go to school, but she was from Rumson.
But I was from
Fairhaven.
I've always
Jersey
been
girl.
from New Jersey. Singing was something that was very natural. I didn't really acquire the taste to make a decision to learn about the vocals that are involved and the necessities to learn about proper vocal care
Right.
to sing. To me, it was just natural.
Right.
Dancing was technical. I didn't take the singing as seriously because it was easy.
Right.
And it wasn't until I really started spending more time professionally that I realized that the gift that I had is going to wear out
If you
if
don't take
I
care of it.
don't start to take care of it. And that was when I really began to invest professionally in the gifts that I had, whether it was, you know, continued dance lessons. I mean, now at this point in my life, I'm teaching.
Right.
You know, I could never, you know, keep up with that sort of
Lifestyle.
technicality and lifestyle on my system anymore. You know, I've had those days. I am older, but I look back at the amount of time that I put into all the classes and all the sweat and all the pain and all the broken
Yeah.
bones and all that stuff.
Literally.
And-
So you mean literally broken bones?
Oh yeah, oh my God, yes. You know, as a a human being, as a
Yeah.
professional dancer, a professional singer, professional athlete, there's this period of time, and not for everybody, but you know, 9 out of 10 times you're going to have injuries.
Right.
You know, you are human, and I found like during the days in like the 70s and 80s when I was really hoofing on Broadway and off Broadway and all the shows I was doing. At that time, the unions were different. The specifications were different.
Were they less
The
protective of you than
expectations-
they are now?
Less
Okay.
protective. For instance, when I was working at Radio City, during the Christmas show, let's just use that as a great example.
Right. So this is Rockette still.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rockettes, Radio City, that
Yeah,
whole,
that
you
whole
know,
iconic.
that whole, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
In that building, in Rockefeller Center, you were there all day. You did 6 shows a day, 6 days a week. And we would,
That's an
we
athlete.
would rotate, because there were so many Rockettes and so, I mean, there were so many of us, and we interchanged our parts. Example, some of the shows, here's an example of a show, it was called New York Summer. Just throwing this, it's a whole different thing than the Christmas show. But the New York Summer was a very big show at Rockefeller Center in the 80s. And the Rockettes would play other parts, as there would be leads and other parts in that show.
Okay.
There was a script. It wasn't just the
Oh,
Rockettes.
it wasn't just- okay.
It was a whole show. It was a theatrical
Like a play.
extravaganza.
Okay,
It was like a
right.
big play that starred the Rockettes. But there were 392 in that cast. Wow. And we would rotate because no one could do all
6
that
shows a
all
day.
the
Oh
time.
my God.
6 shows a day, 6 days a week. So we all got to interplay with all our different parts. And it was a blast. At that time, the union was AGVA.
Okay.
Yeah, it was AGVA, which isn't even around anymore. And so, yeah, what was allowed then is not happening now. So we would not have to put ourselves out for something
So
like
let me
that.
pause and oh, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, during all of that time, though, she had an opportunity to be mentored by Tom Baylor,
Oh my God, yes.
Okay.
who wrote and worked with Quincy on We Are the World and many, many other hit records. And he helped produce and work with Lisa.
He was a very big part of the 4 years that I was there. He was a very big part of the musical direction and songwriting of
The shows.
of these shows at Radio City Music Hall. And yes, mentor extravaganza. There's that word again. He taught me, and I was very young. I was like 18, 19, 20 years old. He taught me the world of studio recording versus session recording versus going in front of 6,000 people, 6 times a day, 6 days a week, and projecting, learning how
Oh,
to
right, because it's different. You're
different
modulating your
voices.
voice very different.
Different voices.
It's all different. It's all different. And what a lesson
was his
I've
name
learned.
again?
Tom Baylor, Bahler, Thom.
So this was a great segue. So because you made my next sort of question better. So here you are, a Rockette, but not just a Rockette, but being mentored by Tom Baylor. So let's compare you to when you're, let's call it 11, 12, right? You're interested in dance, you have a good voice.
Mm-hmm.
And fast forward however many years, you are on this iconic troupe of world-class, world-famous, historically recognized dancers,
Mm-hmm.
and to boot, Tom Baylor, a name I learned tonight, but clearly a luminary in your world, is helping you become the best dancer you can be.
Molding her.
Molding you, and not just you're dancing, but I was going to ask you this earlier.
Dancing, acting, triple threat.
Yeah.
Dancer, singer, actor.
Yeah.
So
How
to
did
be
that feel,
clear,
though? How did that
to be
feel?
clear, when I was hired at Radio City Music Hall by Tom Baylor, when he met me at the audition, which
wow.
I skipped school to go to,
Okay.
I had no idea what I was going into. I just was at Adelphi. I was in the dance department.
Right.
But I really wanted musical theater, and so I started, looking into it, and I would, leave class or skip class and go into New York. And I remember just standing in line with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of
Right.
people outside Radio City Music Hall. It was so exciting. And I remember going in, I had no music. I had never really done this before.
Right.
And there was a table of people. Tom Baylor was one of them. And long story short, when I went, I sang a song and I did a little dance.
What song did you sing? Do you remember?
I'll tell you in a minute.
It's
It's the wine.
Another sip of wine.
I can't remember right now. Anyway, when I was hired as what was called a New Yorker. The New Yorkers were a team of singer-dancers, actors,
So
actresses.
you were hired as a triple threat.
Yes.
Okay.
But when we were hired as that, and the Rockettes were part of the whole thing, as I said, we used to interchange. So I was hired as a New Yorker, then ended up working and dancing with the Rockettes. So all of us would interchange all our different roles. What an experience to have all that. So to be able to do a kick line and dance with the Rockettes, but then be able to on the same show, maybe I was subbing for someone, who knows? But I was able to sing these incredible songs and then dance. And then maybe the next show that night was going to be something else.
Wow.
So you really learned how to do it all. You had to do it like that because people got injured, things happened. It's a big stage. And what an experience.
What blows my mind is what Lisa would tell me about the stage where animals would come up out of
once again, Agva, remember that
Oh,
union.
right. You're not being, your safety is not being protected.
You're an attorney, right?
I am.
No, okay.
Yeah, right,
so,
right.
so
Statute of limitations is way
during
out.
during those years,
Yeah.
everything was different. Laws, rules, regulations were different. The stage at Radio City, they have a hydraulic stage. It's so big, and the thing moves. I mean, literally, the stage moves. It lifts and goes down to like subway level, and flips around. It goes. It's huge, and so we would have to get ready and end up on the stage during the Christmas show on the nativity scene with the animals that were inside the Radio
Like
City Music Hall. They shouldn't have been there.
Live big animals.
Live animals. They shouldn't have been there. But it was the 70s and the 80s. And we were there with our big old costumes, and we had our antlers and things like that. The camels were spitting at us. There was stuff going on. It was, I mean, looking back, yeah, I have funny stories. It was just an experience that I'll never forget.
Let me ask you this question. People and artists will walk into situations with sort of varying levels of security or insecurity. So I don't know you well yet. So, like, I'm an insecure person. I'm open and comfortable with that, right? So you come into this situation with whatever level of core confidence you have, right? And if maybe you walked in as someone with insecurities, maybe you walked in as someone with confidence, but what did that experience do for your core in terms of what you thought about yourself?
Good question. That experience, which led me to other shows and other areas of the entertainment industry, I think if you choose to go into this industry, you have to have some level of a hard skin.
Right.
Because you're going into rejection,
Yep.
competition, and a continuous workload where you may or may not allow yourself to be taken advantage of, whether it's the number of hours that you work or the number of shows that you get, or perhaps you should have gotten that part or somebody else got your part, and what happened here. It's a constant area in the world of entertainment that could shake you if you allowed it.
Right.
So to answer your question, there's a thin line of being pompous and arrogant, confident or insecure or real, and I feel I'm a very real person. I've always enjoyed competition.
So you have that core. I think, I'm going to cut you off. I think you have some of that core confidence, which is beautiful. You do, right? And you're not even comfortable saying it.
It's been shaken many, many times. And I was, you had mentioned, we were talking before the show about Kristen Chenoweth, and which brings me to an audition that I went to for Wicked. And I remember I went to this audition, and I got very used to walking into rooms and auditioning, singing or dancing, whatever it was I was doing, and really not being paid much attention to. You just, they know or they don't know the second you walk in the room. They have an idea if you're going to be utilized or not.
Right.
And I walked in this room, and I remember I sang Defying Gravity, which I knocked out of the park.
She does
now,
sing it good.
I do believe that
Wait, could you give us a couple bars?
No. I do believe that the table of people that were there,
Right.
I think they were ordering lunch.
Okay.
Because they were not even looking at me. And so at the end of the song, I was like, all right. And I just start to walk towards the door. And one gentleman looks up from his table, and he looks at me and he goes, you're too tall.
With that, in that cold kind
I'm
of tone.
too tall. I mean, that was your constructive criticism. I'm too tall. And I remember walking away from that. I'm not sure why it was that audition, but I walked away from that. Something, it tugged on me a little bit.
Right.
And I was like, all right. You know what? You're not going to bring me down. And that's kind of like what the song was about.
Yeah.
And you're not going to put me in that place. I may not sing it on your stage, but I can promise you, you just wait till you watch what I do next. Something turned it.
That's really
But
great.
It continuously turns it
She
around.
has such confidence, though. I mean, this is a girl that auditioned for Dreamgirls.
And I knew I wouldn't get that. I knew that. But I wanted to be seen and heard. And you're right, that was a fun audition. I was quite special that day. And I went in and I
You never know who's going to
You
see you.
never know
Right.
who's going to
And
see me.
That's
and
true.
And think, well, I have a role for her.
Right, right.
And that's what you have to do in this business. You know, you just have to put it out there. And whatever anyone's going to do with it is not going to be in your power anyway.
Right. Well, you know, and I love what you said, Frankie, that, you know, and it's obviously in your mind because you didn't know Frankie yet, is that when you're giving those auditions, you know, there could be someone who says, all right, I don't want her for this, but oh my God, is she perfect
Oh,
for
exactly.
this?
You just have
Yeah.
to be out there. You have to
Yeah.
be seen. You have to be heard.
But, you know, it led her to go on and have her own television show and do Broadway
did.
Yeah.
and all these things that, you know, the callous of the industry,
Yeah.
you know, and then you learn how to let things roll off.
Right.
So you're looking at, okay, what did I learn from this, and where do I go from here?
Well, you know what I love about your story is that somebody literally out of their own insecurity tried to wound you. I mean, that motherfucker tried to hurt you
Yes.
It's very
with that
true.
callous comment, because that's a person, it's easy to tell, that's an insecure
They're
person.
bullies.
Well, he was
They're
too
bullies.
short.
Yeah, and he failed.
Maybe. There
Yeah.
are bullies everywhere in
Yeah.
life, and there are people.
Short-sighted.
There are many times people. I've done some wonderful lectures on how to audition for an audition. You know,
Mm.
how to be a performer or not.
Right.
You know,
That's a great, or not, right.
or
Yeah.
not. And, you know, life can be a performance. There are going to be mean people everywhere. And in this industry, it's very easy to be turned off or turned down.
Right.
But you know what? People always ask again.
It's
You know,
how you pick
will
yourself
you make?
up.
We
Yeah.
have we have starved.
That's
You've
how you
lived on
grow.
bologna sandwiches in your garage. I have
Yeah.
lived with nothing. But if I had millions and millions of dollars, I don't think I would have changed it.
Right.
You know, there's something when you sing a song, when you're on a stage, there's something that gets you. It's the whole reason for doing.
By the way,
what we
that
do.
mood just inhabited you right now.
It
You
did.
saw it.
And,
You
and
saw it.
and I said to her when we first met, when are you the happiest?
Right,
And she said, when I'm singing.
That's beautiful, and it's beautiful on two levels. First of all, it's beautiful that she's happiest when she's singing. But secondly, that you're aware of that. You know, that you have the self-awareness to appreciate that. I mean, there's people who say, "I'm happiest when I'm fly fishing." You know, and that's wonderful. Also, there's people who are happiest when they're cooking, when they're watching their kids' ball game. There's a million things.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just saw it in you that very second when you inhabited the moment, when you told us that you're happiest when you're singing, you, for a brief moment, inhabited that moment. You know, I saw that. It
disappear.
was pretty cool.
I disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, we don't have a ton of time left, but one of the things that I want to talk about and give you guys a bit of a platform to talk about that we alluded to earlier is you have a project, more than one, but there's one together right now.
Yeah, we are. Lisa came up with a great idea,
I love that idea. I read about it. It's great.
and celebrating 3 troubadours.
Yes.
And these 3 troubadours are James Taylor, Carly Simon, and Carole King.
Right.
And so I said, you know what? Those are 3 unbelievable songwriters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have a catalog of songs. You had to be under a rock not to know these
Mm-hmm.
songs. And so Lisa had put this show together. She picked all the songs that she wanted from these artists. And November 12th, we're at the Bucks County Playhouse here in Pennsylvania, New Hope, Pennsylvania.
I live in
We
Pennsylvania.
sold
in Bucks
out.
County.
We sold out every show
So far, yeah.
so far that we've done. I mean, the pandemic. This production has taken on a few different facelifts, like many shows do.
Right.
So the concept actually started, a few years ago, and we've changed casts a few times for different reasons. And the cast that we have now seems to have a really good connection. It's
To the
taken a
to the
while.
music.
It's
Yeah.
taken a while. It's taken a while to find it, and we're still finding it.
You know what I like the best about it is that they interpret
Yes.
Yep.
the songs.
One of my biggest pet peeves, so I am a big Sheryl Crow fan. Love Sheryl Crow.
Of course.
I hate her version of First Cut is the deepest.
Mm.
Because as beautiful as her voice is, I don't think she's thinking about the lyrics when she sings the song.
Right.
I think when she sings the song, she's thinking about how she has a great voice. I love Sheryl Crow. I love her whole catalog.
Right.
I listened to her on the way here tonight, as a matter of fact.
Mm.
But she's not in my mind, I could be dead wrong.
Right.
And she's probably not watching right now. But I don't feel like she is thinking
means
about
it.
the lyrics when she performs that song. So I love what you just said, because that's
Yeah.
so important to make it real.
Each singer, from Lisa to Mary McCrink to Byron Smith,
Right.
they have a way of interpreting, because when I go to all the rehearsals and I sit there and I listen, I go, God,
Never thought of that.
yeah,
Right.
the way these singers are interpreting these
Right.
songs gives it such a unique, feeling that it brings you back,
Yeah.
that you re-love the song.
Well, look, you're a songwriter, and someone put a lot of thought into the specific lyrics for that song, and in a way that I truly don't understand, but you would, there is a way where you're going to hit certain notes, and you're going to do your falsetto or not, or be quiet, or sort of push the volume out, that has to be consistent with the emotion that's behind the lyrics.
Correct.
You
There
know?
are some songs, for instance,
Yeah.
what I did, I Feel the Earth Move.
Yeah.
There are certain songs, you know what? Leave them alone. Sing them because they're just that good.
Right.
Other songs, there are many groups that are trying to duplicate, if you will, the artist, whether it's what they look like
Yep.
or how they sing the song.
We don't do
we're
that.
We're celebrating the music. We're not trying to duplicate the artist. But strangely enough, coincidentally, Byron
Right.
sounds,
He sounds like James Taylor.
it's
Wow.
it's
Just-
a little bit freaky.
It's a little eerie how
Yeah.
much he sounds like James
just
Taylor.
coincidental.
But he
It's
does his own
coincidental.
version of it, and
But if he's feeling it, he's feeling it.
it's how he
Absolutely.
sings.
Yeah.
It's just how he sings.
Yeah, then that's organic.
It is organic.
Oh, absolutely. And Mary is, she's been graciously gifted,
She's kind of like an Irish folk singer almost.
Wow.
And she interprets.
I don't know where she goes. She takes a song and it's
every time
there,
she
and then
does
it
it, she
comes
does it a
back,
little
and then
different.
it goes a little different. Yeah, it's really quite phenomenal. So it's nice to hear this music, and people in the audience are like, I know that song. Ah, and then you hear the chorus, and that's what we
Right.
do with Beautiful.
But it's also really
Song
nice
beautiful.
that we have a violin,
Oh, wow.
a sax player, we have an acoustic guitar player, so the group can break down to 3 pieces. And,
Right.
and do a song with like an acoustic guitar and a violin
could do
and
this
a
if you
voice.
want to.
Or
Or
then
it's
bring the
big.
band in at certain
Yeah.
points. So it's an orchestrated thing that happens throughout the night.
And you know what's nice is that this is sort of rounding it out nicely. So what you guys have together chosen is sort of the tapestry of our
There you
our
go.
collective emotional history, right?
Absolutely.
You know, for people, so on 2 levels it's nice. For people of a certain age,
Baby
right?
boomers.
You're right, for the baby boomers. But, you know, I saw the Who,
Oh.
I think at Garden State.
Sure.
Don't even
That's
even
like
start
her
with
favorite-
Who.
her
That's
I'm a Who
favorite.
fanatic.
Okay,
Fanatic.
She's
we're
saying
going to
how many
have another.
times?
We're going to be
I'll
talking.
arm wrestle you over that.
We're going to talk.
But I saw them at the Garden State Arts Center 15 years ago, maybe.
I was there.
Yeah, of course you were, right? And I saw kids there. I saw like 18, 19-year-old kids there, and it warms my heart. So even though you guys are taking care of the boomers, right, I think that you can also introduce those great songs, because we started this show by saying at a certain point in time, 70s, 80s, even in 60s, certainly there was a certain quality to the songwriting in terms of the composition and the lyrics that we're waiting to see if it, it could
You
be
see
equal.
people cry tears of joy because
Right.
these songs bring them back
But you
to
know
a
what's
time.
great is like half the songs, Byron will go, okay, and the audience is singing, the
Right.
song. He doesn't
Right.
even have to sing anymore.
Well,
You Got a Friend. They're all
Right.
singing.
So what you're really doing, you guys are doing together, it's a celebration.
That's it is.
Speaking
Yes.
about the Who, just going back.
Oh, I could do that.
Bobby Bandiera. Yeah, I did the show. I was able to be in Bobby Bandiera, who's an incredible Jersey Shore
iconic guitar
iconic
player.
guitars,
Right.
and he did his
The Who
tribute to
show.
the Who, and I was able to sing "The Song Is Over," one of the greatest nights of my life.
Wow.
And you have a funny story about Bobby, what he did to one of your songs.
Yeah, but okay. So Lisa was doing a show and at McLuhan Supper Club in Asbury Park, and she finished up, and we were leaving, and Bobby was downstairs, kind of playing his guitar, singing, and he sees us, and he stops, and he goes,
It's classic.
and he starts playing, "I spent the night with your wife."
I mean, come on, the place went crazy.
Oh, that is hysterical.
And he kept on going. He just kept
That's
on
it.
making up
That's
lyrics.
Bobby.
And
Oh,
But
that's fantastic.
Here's a great Who story, is that
Yeah.
a friend of ours, Steve Silverman,
Okay.
lives in the next town over. And every year before the pandemic, he threw these big parties. So
Right.
he had, groups like the Beach Boys, and then he would have Foreigner, and then so one year, she's saying, geez, I wonder if he would ever have the Who. I said, come on, you can't afford the Who. He's
Right,
not going
right,
to have the Who. So we get there early to see who it is, and the sound checking, and it's Roger.
it's Roger
Roger
Daltrey, who
Daltrey.
lives 10 minutes from our houses.
Wow.
And so
10
like
minutes.
300 people in this like backyard.
Private party. He was
And-
flown in.
Wow. My biggest Who thing, I have a friend who is a big ad exec, and he said, Dave, if you could pretend you're an ad lawyer, I'm going to get you into like a $5,000 a plate event. I'm like, I'm game. So, you know what this is? Tell me. I'm going to test
Was
you.
this in New York?
Yes.
I was there.
At the Gotham,
That's it.
Gotham Hall. We were there together. So it was white tablecloth,
I
surf and
was there.
turf.
I was there.
They were awkward and wonderful at the same time, right?
I was there. Both
Oh,
of them, Townsend.
How amazing
and
was that?
I don't even want to tell you on camera how I got into that show. Because I'm
You weren't
not an
married
ad.
yet.
This was
No,
many,
so
many
it's
years
all
ago.
fair.
I was at that show.
That was an amazing show.
Yes, it was.
I was an advertising attorney on that night. And Bon Jovi was there.
Okay.
They had it was the Four Seasons. It was a charity. They had Wayne Gretzky was there,
Oh, wow.
right? There were all these
there.
big sports people. Didn't Bon Jovi introduce the Who? I forget.
No, I do not remember that. I did not. My eyes
was-
were on Roger. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
I don't
as
know.
I predicted, we have just eaten through 60 minutes.
Of course we
like
have.
Nothing. I will say in the air, I would love
Wait.
you guys to come back
Cheers.
sometime. Absolutely.
This was so much fun.
we're
Oh, we have so
whining
much
again.
more to talk about.
We
We're
do.
whining again.
We do. And I take such pride in our cue
Cheers
cards.
to everybody.
Yes, I missed our cue card last time. This is Dave Cohen on Guitar Tales. I want to thank everyone so much for watching us. Our opening show for season 4. This has been an amazing journey. We're so happy and appreciative that you folks have stuck with us through COVID, for all our Zoom shows, which we've really taken a lot of pride in. Our great friends here at Riverside, or Riverview. It's been fabulous. Have a great night, and take a look on YouTube, Audible, on Amazon. We are on Facebook Watch. We are on every platform you could find. Look for us, find us, like us, and subscribe. Have a great night. This is Dave Cohen signing off.